In the silence of last few seconds, did you hear that? A seed breaking the ground, or a river flowing carving the stone, or the time just passing by and the footsteps of it. The greatest forces on earth make lot of noise. It's just that we don't hear it. Be it a sprout coming out of the ground, or river Ganga shaping the rocks in its banks, or a huge tree falling in the forest. They all make noise. But the impact of these noises is not silent. It is simply subtle, unseen, uncelebrated, and undeniable. Take, for example, Ganga. It flows from Himalayas till it reaches its destination in ocean. It never stops flowing. It never stops to turn back at you and ask and see if you are watching. It continues to change lives, livelihood, and landscapes. Will it count if no one sees it? Now think of your own actions. Sharing your lesson with somebody to make them understand things very clearly, or helping an elderly with lot of kindness when nobody is watching, or standing firm on your foot for something that is very right when nobody is clapping. Will this count if no one sees it? These moments and their impacts will not trend. They may not get you on the stage and get you a trophy, but they live on. They echo in the lives that you have touched. They echo in the choices that you have inspired. They echo in the strength that you have sparkled. These moments may not be heard. These moments may not be seen. These moments may not be celebrated or felt. However, these moments may also not give you a title. They may not give you a trophy. They may not give you a lot of followers. But the impact of these moments is invisible because they are set in motion by your intent. I ask you again, will you still act even if the world stays silent? It's often said, know your why. Know your why. Why are you doing something? But a lot of us have not been told that why isn't enough. Why gives us a purpose, it gives us a direction, but intent gives you that move. It helps you take the first step. It's not about what you hope to do. It's always about what you choose to do. Especially when no one is watching and no one is clapping for you. From the state of Michigan State University, a behavioral scientist, Dr. Ethan Kross, and his colleagues, after profound research, came up with this wonderfully. They said, chasing external recognitions reduces your well-being. They also went on to say, the action driven by intent brings lasting fulfillment. Similarly, 3 years ago, in 2010, behavioral economist and New York Times bestseller Dan Ariely also said, when people efforts go wasted, unrecognized, their motivation drops. Even if their work is extraordinary and very valuable. They also say, when driven by intent. Yes, when driven by intent, the work itself becomes rewarding. So profound, isn't it? We all chase recognition because that acts of a proof of having done something. We chase success because we get noticed, we get validation, we get valued, is what we feel, isn't it? But most meaningful acts quietly shapes lives, unseen, unrewarded, and unshared. I call that intent echo. The echo that you may never hear, but someone else will carry it forever. That intent echo is something which gives a greater impact in others' life when heart is put into it. I'm reminded of a drizzling evening when me and my father went into a village to invite a family. My father was very cheerful and happy till the time he started getting a stomach pain. Few minutes later, he fell on the floor with excruciating pain. There were no men in the house. All that was available to us as a vehicle was a bullock cart. I don't remember thinking. I remember moving my father into that bullock cart and taking him to an hospital 8 kilometers away. In that night, all that we could hear was the creaking sound of the bullock cart. When we reached the hospital, the visiting doctor, Dr. Naylor, attended to my father. She operated on him in the middle of the night. She was to fly to Ireland the next day morning, but she cancelled her trip because her patient, my father, was recovering. 2 weeks later, my father recovered and we returned home. We forgot to thank Dr. Naylor. Not that she wanted it. Why I say this is, that night was an intent echo feeling for me. The impact of that night is still living in me. It still moves me. Because Dr. Naylor's act gave 44 years to my father. And it changed the destiny of my family. I again ask you, would you still care, give, or do, even when nobody is watching? Like Ganga, she flows without much of fanfare. Like that bee which buzzes the whole day, collecting the nectar to give you sweetness someday. Like that potter who collects the mud, shapes it into the vessel that we use without signature that he puts it on it. These works are not silent. It's just that no one hears the sound. Intent echo is not a noise, it's a shift. I remember about 15 years ago, I was sitting taking interviews. A young boy walked in, handed his resume to me. Looking at his face, I tried recollecting him. It was a sense that I had met him somewhere. And what he said next was very profound. He said, long, long ago, what you had said has changed my life. And he made me recollect what I had said. 15 years before that day, I remember a boy doing small errands in my office when I was doing a project. Twice a day, he used to come to me and serve tea. One day, I had asked him, why don't you learn a trade and do a living? He had taken that seriously, but I had forgotten. Something I had forgotten, he had remembered it very well. A week later, he told me that he went to the quality assurance lab and started working on the testing instruments to see how it functions. 15 years later, that boy was sitting in front of me giving an interview for the post of manager quality control. I had said, pick up a trade, build a fate, or build a life. Sometimes a word, a gesture, or a decision that you take in the past could be lingering with other life, like an echo even today. So lead anyways, even if nobody is saluting you. Lead anyways, even if your name is not on the door. Lead anyways, even if it is not called as leadership. I ask you, will you lead yourself even if nobody is applauding? During the formation years in my career, I remember a lot of managers used to tell me, don't come to me with problems. Bring me solutions as well. This statement I have heard with a lot of managers of late as well. Those days, I realized there are two kinds of people. Those who solve and those who identify problems. And that stuck to me for a very, very long time because I was unable to define myself. It was, do you want to point out what is wrong or you want to fix them? It was like, what is missing, unclear or wrong versus what is it that I have to do now to solve the problem immediately? Finding clarity became the anchor in my leadership. That finding clarity shaped my relationships in life and in profession. Finding clarity became my decision-making mantra. And finding clarity is something that helped me take action since then. That one statement changed the way I led teams. It changed the way I made decisions, and it changed the way I showed up to the world. That silent question echoed throughout everything I became. Even when no one is asking to act, I found it, I fixed it, and I moved with the problems. So I ask you, in future, what will you regret more? That you didn't get a trophy? Or you held yourself back waiting for one? Brownie Ware, a palliative care nurse, very poignantly has pointed this out in her famous book titled The 5 Regrets of Dying, where she had heard from all those people who were dying and has compiled what their regrets were. And on the top comes, I wish I had the courage to live my life truest to myself and not of a life that others expected of me. So wonderfully written. It was about applause. It was not about applauses that they missed. It was the intent that they didn't act on. Everyone had an intent, but they missed acting on that. Your impact is not heard in the crowd's loud cheer. In the silent echo that shapes what's dear. When no one sees, the soul will know. When true intent will quickly grow. I wish the intent echoes with each one of you when you support, strengthen, and serve others.